Welcome to Conscious Living here at the Specially Produce Network. We are so glad you're here to support your lifestyle with the fastest growing resource for conscious families. So sit back, relax, connect, and enjoy. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today. It is just an amazing day to come forward and to introduce my guest and myself in this topic called genetic consciousness. We truly here are passionate about giving an inspirational spark of insight to the biological connections of consciousness as we affect our genetic expressions. And today I'd like to introduce myself, Ashley Lee. I am an advanced energy healer, a luminary in energetic relationships, author and speaker. And I'm here to share with you the expert that I have in transforming the consciousness of energetic relationships between the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies for our fullest expressions in our genetic expressions in our everyday lives to promote health and happiness. And I introduce my partner and my friend and colleague, Kacey Connelly. She is a molecular geneticist, philanthropist, and truly a scientific visionary. Kacey is an expert molecular geneticist with visionary inspiration to create a world where everyone is aware that they can transform the states of their well-being through shifting their consciousness. Welcome, Kacey. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Ashley. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, and it's good to be with you. And we both are here so excited to share with our audience about our new TV show that's coming up. It's a 12-week episodes about genetic consciousness. And we're sharing with the world on a network called Awake TV Network. And they are so amazing to share these opportunities in consciousness that actually shift our health and healing into this whole new stratosphere that we've never experienced before in our humanity.
That's right. We're going to be exploring how different states of consciousness can affect your genetic expression and your overall health and well-being.
It's really true, and we're so excited about the different topics that we're going to talk about. We're talking about gene effects, we're talking about transmutation, deletion, transcription, all these fun ways in which we can actually shift the way that our genetic expressions happen cellularly in our body.
That's right. You know, we are given a blueprint in our DNA, but it is really up to us to determine how that DNA is expressed or even not expressed.
Right.
Right.
And what do you find in your clinical settings? What do you find when we're not expressing our genetic expression or our genetic blueprint or what's possible for us? What does that mean?
Well, you know, there's so much of emotion and feelings that affect how your DNA is expressed. And for example, I specialize in cancer, and in my clinical experience, I have noted that people with cancer usually have a history of either anger or stress. And those negative emotions over time shut down the genetics that would allow you to overcome cancer cells naturally in the body like it's supposed to. And so, you know, turning off some DNA expression with these negative emotions allows the cancer to proliferate.
Yeah, that means and grow, right? And develop
Right.
into either a blood type of cancer, which then spreads out through the whole bloodstream, or tumor cancers that grow into lumpy, you know, amorphous, constructs in our body that we call tumors, and that
Right.
that all clumps together, right? And so it's so amazing that you're studying that, and that idea that we can, when we start to shift our emotions or our thought process, it reactivates the body's ability to balance itself. And
That's exactly right. Yes.
and to clear these what we could call discordant or disordered or diseased cells, and help them either release in the body or change and shift and become no longer diseased.
Yes, and the easiest way to gauge that is to just check in and see how you feel. If you are feeling joyful and grateful and love, those are the feelings that promote healthy DNA expression. If you are feeling things like, stress or anger, or even sleep deprivation, those can trigger non beneficial effects with DNA expression.
And so, what you're really saying is, even in the moment, as we ride the roller coaster of life, with
Yes.
the emotions and different things, that even, is it just a few minutes? Is it a few hours? Is it a few days? Is it a few years or a lifetime of negative
Mhm.
emotions that contribute to that disease? Or can we shift it in that moment, right? How do we look at it from that perspective?
Yes, we can shift it in the moment. The thing is to be aware, constantly aware of how you're feeling. And if you catch yourself in a streak of being stressed out, or crying a lot, or being sleep deprived for a long period of time, that you can make a conscious decision to flip that and turn it around. And you can change years worth of negative emotional stress on your body by just meditation really helps. 4 days of meditation has shown to reverse years worth of stress related DNA expression.
So, if I may repeat that, you're saying 4 days of meditation and making that commitment to shifting our emotions and our thoughts can rearrange disease states that we've been building for decades.
Exactly. They did a genetic study about this at the Chopra Center, and they did a 4-day meditation, and then they sequenced the genome of their participants before and after the 4 days. And there were several dynamic processes connected to our everyday choices and experiences that were reversed in the DNA expression. And so, doing things like just meditating 10 minutes a day, becoming centered and aware of your emotions and how you want to go forward with the day, really can turn things around.
That is a beautiful description, and very similar to what you've shared with me too about creating data to understand how we actually biochemically shift, right?
Right.
And so when you take saliva swabs, we call them buccal swabs, right? When you swab the inside of the cheek, and
Yeah.
you take the genetic material from our saliva, for example, like the study that you're working with, where
Hmm.
you take that and you test this gene called MTHFR, which is a fancy
Right.
name for an inflammatory gene, right? It that
Hmm.
creates generalized inflammation in the body.
Yes.
And so you test people before they go into a therapeutic session, so to speak, like music therapy or gonging therapy, right?
Hmm.
And inside that, then you take their, and they test positive for MTHFR expression, which is an
Right.
inflammatory biochemical state of the body. And they have this therapeutic session called music therapy, gonging. And when they come out and you retest their saliva, that MTHFR gene is turned off.
Exactly, turned off. It is really up to us if we want to turn the positive expressions on or off, and same with the negative expressions of our DNA. And yes, anything that gets you into that centered meditative state, it could be meditation, it could be sound meditation, or any sort of therapeutic activity, it really makes a difference in your gene expression. And it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out session. Like I said, it can be 10 minutes, and, we can test the genome and see a significant difference.
All I have to say is wow, right? Someone told me wow means way over wonderful. That is way over wonderful. Holy moly,
Yes.
really? 10 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah, 10 minutes. And, it's not just inflammation. For example, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, inflammation, all these things, you can have the blueprint for them in your DNA, but it doesn't mean that you are, doomed to this sort of disease later on in your life. That's not true. It, depending on how your emotions are throughout your life, exercise, sleep hygiene is important, then these genes don't necessarily ever need to be turned on. You don't necessarily ever really need to have diabetes or Alzheimer's if you are able to be conscious about your emotions.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, yes, it
So
should
really
be.
our best health care plan might be seeking and knowing and understanding and learning and integrating emotional wisdom in our everyday lives.
It is, and it's the best. It's preventative care, really.
Yes.
So you don't want to ever get to the point where you're dealing with type 2 diabetes or Alzheimer's or cancer, even. So you want to get in front of the problem. Most of healthcare these days is very reactive, and you're doing something after you have the disease. And lots of times you can't really get back to that healthy state afterwards. So we need to take time up front and be centered with ourself and our emotions throughout our life in order for those things not to accumulate.
That's amazing. And now
Hmm.
I wanted to venture into the conversation for just a few minutes about this idea of pathogens and what we're experiencing on the planet right now, also known as a coronavirus, right? We see it in the hospitals, we see it throughout society, we see it in the media, we see it
Right.
in our communities. This is a respiratory virus that is impacting people, especially in the Asian continent, very
Hmm.
significantly. And uh, tell us a little bit about that, about how pathogens, those would be, right, microbes that
Right.
turn into this virulent form of entering a host, which is a human, for example,
Hmm.
and entering a host, a body, and then it causing cell degradation, cell death, cell problems, cellular demise, right?
Right.
And what's happening there? What do you sense and feel and know that's around that we can actually work on correcting illnesses in our body from, that's something outside of us that comes in.
Yeah, it's interesting, that you can be in a room with, say, the coronavirus, and, everybody breathes that air, which, coronavirus can be passed along just by droplets in the air.
Right.
And two people get sick, but the rest of them stay healthy. Why is that? And it really comes down to the mindset of the people who are healthy and the ones who get sick. People who say, I always get sick. Well, yeah, if you say so, you will. You have that mindset that you are going to subconsciously lower your immune system and allow the pathogen in. But for example, one thing I always say, I never get sick. And it's true. I never get sick because my immune system knows, hey, if a pathogen comes in that we don't recognize, it's going to go and take care of it for me just like it should. Our body has mechanisms in place to be able to keep us healthy and ward off viruses and diseases, like coronavirus. We come in contact with them all the time, but our body naturally takes care of it for us.
That is so true, and that is such a beautiful level of really sharing. I've recognized too that when we carry a certain consciousness, like fear or
Right.
or being super busy with our busyness, and we're overwhelmed with busyness. And that's not really our natural state, right? We
Right.
know our natural state is flow and
Flow.
ease, and everything
Yes.
comes right to us.
Right. Flow and ease, and approaching your life with an open heart, and love really is all you need. And so, loving the people around you and loving yourself is very important.
It truly is. And I recognize that too, energetically around the planet, that we really are deeply working on supporting ourselves and learning how to create nurturing self love.
Exactly.
And in the realm of consciousness, I'm really studying and really looking at that research and that data and understanding what are some of the stopgaps, what are some of the reasons or the obstacles of why we have such a big challenge to create nurturing self love for our own selves, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, especially in America, we work so much and we work so hard all the time that we, maybe put the dollar in front of our own, mental health and physical health, and we're not stopping to recenter on a regular basis. And so, that's important to remember. It's not always about the paycheck or something like that. It's about how you feel inside, and your mental health and the energy that you are expressing to the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so when we become centered again, we start to lose those consciousness challenges called busyness or our to do list, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then from those ideas, if we stay mired in our to do list, I got to do this and I got to do that, then we move into perfectionism, then we move into people pleasing, then we move into I'm not worthy or powerless or I can't get it done. And all
Right. And, those feelings, I'm not worthy, I'm powerless, those are the feelings that, the people who are coming down with coronavirus feel deep down inside.
that's
you know
correct.
so they are giving off the expression to the world and to their environment that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I always get sick. And the universe, or they say, okay, if you say so, we'll go ahead and make that true. So you really are affecting how your body reacts to your world by just using your mind.
That's right. And so, in our TV show in our 12 weeks, please tune in to awaketvnetwork.com. And there you'll find us starting February 9th every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And there you'll find us, and we'll delve deep into these issues for 12 beautiful 30-minute episodes, sharing with you these conversations and these understandings, these knowings, and sharing with you this wisdom that we can really bring home to our everyday environments, our everyday lives, and to promote that self nurturing love for ourselves and everyone in our lives, to promote health and happiness, and really becoming deeply conscious in our genetic awareness.
Yes, it's been the top three things that are found to be beneficial to DNA expression are good sleep, healthy emotions, and meditation. So, those are things that we have control over. We don't have to invest any money in that. We have control of when we go to sleep. We have control of how we feel. If we catch ourselves being, angry or stressed out, you can really flip that very quickly if you just take time to recenter and meditate for a little bit, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Such beautiful advice and guidance and support that you're providing, that we're both providing for the world, to really recognize that we can really, truly, in our everyday world, for just 10 minutes, we can
Yeah.
change our genetic expression and really start to move ourselves from diseased or chronically inflamed or distorted ways of being in our body to really these loving, magnificent, and amazing ways of being, so that we all have the opportunity to enjoy life.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything really fancy, or you don't have to be like a super experienced meditator. I mean, just sitting in silence for 10 minutes makes a difference. Or, I pull meditations off of YouTube all the time,
Right.
easy, free ways to access this state of mind. And it's something that you have to do for yourself. No one else can change, your emotions, your sleep, your meditative practices. It's not something that you can buy or, put in a bottle. It's something you really have to actively do yourself.
So beautifully shared. Oh, wow. Thank you, Kacey.
Mhm.
Well, we're thanking us. We're bringing it to you very soon, very shortly. We look forward to you seeing us on awaketvnetwork.com. This is Kacey Connelly and Ashley Lee signing off for today. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you all for listening to this podcast. We are so grateful for you tuning in and experiencing the innovations and opportunities we all can incorporate into our daily lives. Connect with us at centerforconsciouskids.com to sign up for the latest news that showcases these revolutionary services and products. Our global website provides families with an online conduit for enrichment and transformation in all our lives. Please share with other kids and families who would enjoy these advancements in living consciously. I'm Ashley Lee, and I thank you so much for joining us.